Is there anything that you wish you knew now that you didn't know before?
You know, I'm going to say no, because again, like this wasn't something that was on my things to do list. I am grateful for the journey along the way and the individuals that God placed in my path to help guide me and mold me and shape me in that realm and in this area. Um, so no, I have to say no, because it wasn't something I was aiming towards doing. So it was just, I'm thankful that I was able to learn the process along the way there, you know, without very many hiccups in the road. And I've been able to progress to where I am now and able to share what I do have with someone else. The knowledge that I've gained along the way, I'm able to share it with others. So I can't say that it's anything that I wish I knew ahead of time. I'm just thankful for the journey.
I don't think everyone can say that, like what you just said. You're just thankful for the journey because the journey is what it is at the end of the day. But I know
Yeah.
for me personally, like somebody told me, girl, buckle up because graduate school is something different. The classes are a lot longer. They're 3 hours instead of an hour and 15. Even with COVID, like it messed, I don't want to say mess everything up, but it really shifted the way my graduate program runs. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not, again, not what I imagined, but no one knew COVID was going to happen. So here we are. Actually, on the point of COVID, how has COVID affected your career, or did it affect your career?
It did not. It did not affect my career at all. The only thing I wish we would have done a little more of is telework. um, I think we were out from about March timeframe until May, maybe, I think somewhere is about there. And then we had to go back into the office. There was some concern with going back into the office, but we were able to get personally protective equipment that, you know, assist in the process of keeping us safe from COVID. Like we have plexiglass on our desk. We have several masks. For the most part, we're spaced out 6 feet in between every coworker in the office, and there are 5 of us, I believe. My boss is in the office, and the rest of us are out in the open space. So there has been protocols and stuff like that in place for us to continue to work in a safe environment. So being at home was great, and I wish I could still telework because then I was able to get my exercise in on my lunch break and still go back and finish up with work. But it hasn't really disrupted it too much. Just wishing I had a little more telework time. That's all. And telework is essentially just working from home.
What are some rewarding aspects of being a budget analyst?
I always have a sense of accomplishment, right? I have this thing that I do because I'm always given several tasks at one time, and then I have to prioritize which one is more important. Um, and then I'll have to follow up with my supervisor as well to see which one she want me to do first. But generally, what I do is I prioritize in a way that I think is most important based on how much time, when does she need it by, what's the deadline, how long is it going to take me to get this task completed, and then who needs it, who needs this task that I'm working on. So I always prioritize based on that. And anytime I get any task completed and I'm checking it off on my notebook, I'm excited. Like that's a sense of accomplishment for me. If I can get 3 out of my 5 tasks done in one day, I'm excited. If I get all my tasks done in one day, I am elated. Okay. So that's my sense of accomplishment and excitement for me at work. Or even if it's one of those tasks where I have to dig a little bit for more information and have to do more analysis. Now, those are my favorite ones because I'm like, oh, it's going to be good because I have to think a little harder, maybe even think outside the box. I have to do more research. So doing the research and analysis is what is very exciting for me. I know you can tell by the way I'm talking about it, but that's exciting for me.
I think if the job isn't exciting, then is it really something that you enjoy? Like, if it's not something you enjoy, then there's a problem. And if there's a problem, you should try to fix it. Not everybody can fix, the job that they're doing, but finding those rewarding aspects of the job makes your job less feel like a job and feel like work. It actually feels like, okay, I'm waking up at 9 o'clock, going to work. This is what I'm about to do. I'm about to have fun and then go home and, decompress and do whatever you need to do.
And I think that's important with any job, like you're saying, like do something that you're passionate about if possible. So that way it's not like a job, is you're doing a hobby, if you will, is you're doing something that you love to do. So then it doesn't become mundane or, something where it just seems like, oh my gosh, I have to go into work. So when you do something that you're passionate about, it's definitely going to be more fulfilling and more rewarding for you.
And on the flip side of passion and rewarding, is there anything that surprised you with being a budget analyst that you were just like, whoa, this is what I got to do?
Man, I think it was having to go back so many times, just not fully understanding the process, or having to go into the meetings with the managers and just like, listen, we keep saying the same thing. You have to move the money, or you can't get this and you can't do that. And like, you just have to go back so many times and you kind of start thinking, what part don't you understand? Like, why don't you get this thing? You can't do this. You can do this, but you can't do that, Like that part I was not ready for. It was just like, oh, okay. I don't understand why we have to keep having the exact same conversation. But over time, I understood because the managers need the money that they need in order to complete certain tasks and in order to reach the overall objective of their program. So just not knowing that in the beginning, it was, a bit, I'm not going to say frustrating, but it took me back a bit because I just couldn't understand why we had to keep having the same conversations.
In those moments, or like just looking back at being a budget analyst, did you ever feel like you had to gain any type of strategies as a woman of color in a professional environment? I know some people have mentioned, CYA, cover your behind, or having a strain of emails so that if somebody says, oh, you didn't do that, you can be like, no, I literally did this, like it's right here. Did you ever have to find any type of strategies as a woman of color in being a budget analyst?
I definitely CYA. I was told that in the very beginning. So I do. So I try to make sure everything is in writing. Even if we talk on the phone, I follow up with an email saying, good afternoon, so-and-so, per our conversation, XYZ 123, blah, 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 or just to follow up on our phone conversation, blah, 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 blah. I definitely do that. And I don't only think that that's necessary for being a woman of color within this career field, but I think just in general with anyone, they should CYA because you never know what may possibly happen. So I think that's just a good strategy in and of itself. And I also think that with anything in life, and the biggest thing being a woman of color, we have to operate a little differently depending on the situation and the circumstance. And something as simple as our hair, right? I first locked my hair in 2013, I believe it was. And when I went on an interview, I purposely would get my hair done in such a way to where you couldn't tell that I had locks. I did it purposely so that I can make sure I got my foot in the door and I can show, my skills and my capabilities. And once I got in the door, you would see different hairstyles come down and you'd be like, oh, I never knew you had locks. I've had people come up to me and say that so many times. Nope, you didn't know I had locks. Number one, I always keep them done up. And then number two, it's not necessarily meant for you to know, but I had to do what I had to do in order to get inside the room, if you will. So there are some little things that we have to do and operate a little differently. And sometimes you have to play the game in order to get to where you want to be. And that game is really dependent on the industry that you work in. Some things may be the same across the board, like the CYA. But depending on what field you work in, you have to adjust accordingly in order to get to where it is that you want to be.
And that's the unfortunate truth about working and being professional. There's so many things that we as women of color have to do, as you said, with Locke. I know with locks, I know, I don't want to say her name because I don't know if she'd be okay with this, but she had to put her locks underneath a wig or put a hat on so that no one knew that she had locks, because locks are viewed as unprofessional and unclean and all these other things, until she went into another job that was, she let her locks down her back and they did not have a problem. And then when she went back to a different job, she didn't leave her, I mean, she didn't have the problem of having to pin it up anymore. She said, if this one job allows me to wear my locks, I'm gonna still continue to wear my locks. I'm not going to change my locks for anybody else, or not even for a job anymore, because that's not authentic to who I am. And if you want somebody who can work and do these things, you should be okay with them having locks.
Right.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree. I definitely agree with her. I'm at a point now in my life, like she is, like, listen, this is who I am. I have my locks and I love my locks. If I ever go on another interview, I am not going to try to do anything differently, so it will appear as if they're not locks. You know, I have what I have, and my appearance and my hair should not take away from my ability to do the job. Can I get the job done effectively and efficiently? That's all you need to know. And if I can do that, then that's all that matters.
Exactly. And I think that, again, that is really important. And also, on that same note, is there any advice you would like to give to anyone with whether if they have locks going into this field of being a business analyst, or just advice in general about being a business analyst?
Going into a budget analyst, I would say, because I've grown over time with an interview, because I know that's something that we're concerned about, just still always be professional. Even if you have locks, if it's any way you can do your hair to where it's still in a professional appearance. We all know what professional looks like and what it doesn't look like. Make sure you just have a professional appearance. And once you are in that position, make sure, if possible, if you can find someone that you can kind of follow or shadow behind, and you can find a mentor, just like I was able to find a mentor. You know, it may happen that once you get into that career field, that mentor is going to find you. They're going to come up to you and just scoop you up and take you up under their wings, because that's definitely what happened to me. And I would say definitely make sure that you continue to take any type of courses or classes that you can take to continue to improve your knowledge of the career field. Work towards getting your certified financial management certificate if you are in the government arena. My master's is in accounting and financial management, but it's specifically for forensic examination. So if you can get your CFE, your certified forensic examiner certificate, I would say do that, but never stop learning. Never stop improving yourself and learning more and educating yourself in the field. Just because you're in the door, that doesn't mean that you stop learning in order to progress, because you want to move up as far as you can go. And if you ever have to leave that particular job that you're in, you want to know that you have equipped yourself well enough to walk away from that job and move seamlessly into another job. You wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. You wouldn't be able to tell that you missed a step, because you won't have time to miss it, because you will have educated yourself where you were and continuing to move forward so that you can be a better analyst and a better version of yourself.
Where can people find more information about being a budget analyst?
I'm gonna tell you, Google. I don't have a specific website for you to go to. If you You can look on USA Jobs, and if it's jobs such as a budget analyst available and you read the job description, that would be able to give you some knowledge of what you would have to do, and what experience you would have to have. But I would definitely say Google it to make sure it's something that it's a career field that you want to go into. It's not necessarily all crunching numbers and things of that nature. I do have to write sometimes, which is fine by me, such as memos and things of that nature. But I would say Google and just go on a USA job so you can see the job descriptions. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I didn't discover about being a budget analyst until I got into my first job as a program analyst.
Well, thank you for that. And I hope that people, again, check out USA Jobs and also Google to see and find out more information about being a budget analyst. To wrap everything up in a pretty little bow, I call this Shy's 3. Can you describe your career experience in 3 words as a budget analyst?
3 words?
I had to make it hard.
Let me think for a second. 3 words. Well, it's going to be more than 3.
That's fine.
Okay. 3 words. 3 words. Intriguing.
That's one.
All right, I can't do it in 3 words, sis. I can't give you 3 words.
Okay.
I can tell you that being a budget analyst is something, it's a career field where you will always be on your toes. You'll always be on your toes. And I can't give you 3 words. Attention to detail.
So it's intriguing. It's kind of like, I guess, not necessarily on the edge, but you're going to be on your toes, and attention to detail. Okay.
Yes. All of that.
Well, I want to thank you again for joining me, Miss Twanita. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to get more updated videos, and follow us on any social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you, I will see you here next week to interview somebody else. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Listen, I wish the first time we talked on the phone was covered and recorded, because that was a great conversation.
I know.